And welcome back to KTM Business. Today we do apologize for that technical hitch, but it's now been resolved. Like I was saying earlier, we are going to be talking about regional tourism. And just to help us put this into perspective, I'm now joined by Carmen Nibigira, Regional Coordinator of the East African Tourism Platform. Welcome, Carmen. And congratulations, you're actually second runners-up at the United Nations World Tourism Organization Award for Innovation and Governance when it comes to tourism. Tell us how that was, because I think it was last week.
Yes, it was last week, actually.
Yeah.
First run-up, not second,
First
run-up. Yes, it was an amazing opportunity for East Africa Tourism Platform and also our partners, all the 5 countries, to be recognized for our efforts in developing tourism, and also looking at how, at the policy level, we try to tackle some of the challenges we have with common solutions.
Yeah.
So it was an amazing opportunity to also benchmark ourselves against other amazing projects. There were like 17 from all over the world. And I'm pleased to say that from the continent of Africa, it was East Africa Tourism Platform and other product in South Africa. So we were very excited, and then we look forward to more opportunities in the future where we can actually be recognized for the work we are doing.
And just talking about this when it comes to tourism, and obviously as a country, 5 members strong with other affiliate countries are coming on board. How difficult or easy has it been through the East African platform or through organizations that you work with, trying to market East Africa as a single destination rather than just say, hi, come look at the wildebeest migration in Kenya and go back home, come and look at the gorillas in Rwanda, come and look at some beaches or something in Zanzibar or in Tanzania. How easy or is it hard has it been?
First of all, I think we need to understand that each country was doing marketing on their own. Probably every single country has a mandate to market their tourism product and the services they offer. So by coming together at East African Tourism Platform, we are in the framework of changing the mindset. We know by the trends, by what we see tourism, how the tourism is going, tourists are looking for more than just one product. They are looking for something new, and they are also looking for something which is more than just a holiday where you go and you do one activity and you don't learn something new. So by really combining all 5 countries, we have several products and services, and I'm sure we all can do something together. So at EATP, we try to make sure that we are all sitting around the table, discussing some of the issues we have, and also taking advantage that some of the countries are probably ahead of others. You know, Kenya, you have almost like what I'll call 5-6 decades of tourism. Other countries like Burundi or Rwanda, we are only talking maybe less than that. How can we learn from you? So the perspective is looking at how we can actually offer more to our consumers, our tourists who are looking for something better, and then better in terms of product and services, and also value for money. And tourism, we know, is a very competitive market. If we are not doing it ourselves, other countries all over the world are doing. Southern part of Africa, they are doing it. Europe, they are opening their borders. So how can we just tap into that market and then be competitive? That's the framework we are working on.
Obviously, being competitive in the tourism front is actually something that is very key. Obviously, it's one sector that has been doing not too well over the last 2 to 3 years. So when you look at that vis-a-vis how you're able to attract tourists, when I can originate my tour in Mombasa, end it up when I'm in Rwanda or Burundi. How then do you provide platforms or products that are able to attract that kind of tourist?
Okay, probably I just want to mention that the reason why we were in Madrid last week, it was because of our innovative idea. We have a multi-destination management tool, which is offering a tour operator, for instance, who's probably the only product he has known, who he has packaged and sold so far, is the Savannah experience, or let's say the Mara experience. How can that tour operator can now be given an opportunity to learn a new product, sell the gorilla experience, and be exposed to new product maybe who never put together? It's expanding the portfolio. If you have a tourist staying in East Africa for more than 5-10 days, good for you as a business. So we want to change the way the narrative we have been selling East Africa as one destination. You are not coming to only see Kenya. We want you to go and see beyond what Kenya can offer. And then in Kenya, it's not just about Mombasa or the Mara. We know there are other amazing destinations within Kenya. So really, conversation is changing how our tour operators, our tourism stakeholders see this as a open market, and then take advantage of what is here and then sell it to the tourism markets outside and then inside East Africa.
Just joined to that, perhaps then how are you assisting perhaps tour operators to come this? Are you organizing perhaps for them workshops or forums where you're able to tell them, look, this is what is available in Rwanda, let's go have a look at it, have a feel of it, so that you have at least know what you're selling outside your original home country?
We do that, and I'm very pleased to see that it's really going well.
Yeah.
We started, for instance, Magical Kenya, when we were in Diani in October. We invited two stakeholders, tour operators from Kenya, from Rwanda, from Uganda, from Tanzania, from Burundi, and all over the world. They were here to really experience that experience. We went around the country, we saw different products and services available. And then in November, we went to Uganda as well for Pearl of Africa. So it's those forums we are providing where we bring people to come to the country, interact with business people, and then also go beyond what are called exchange as business card.
Yeah.
When you go home, don't just
have a business card.
No, just don't take that business card. It's really making that contact and then go beyond just that business card, do business with them, and then incorporate them in some of your product and services you offer. And then when you have a phone call, someone asking you, I'm coming to Kenya, what else can I do? Don't just look at Kenya as the only destination.
Yeah.
Something else is out there, whether in Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Burundi. We have so much to offer.
All right. One question I have to ask you is that even as we're talking about just not staying in one country at one time, is the ability for someone to be able to access some of these different markets, and that has to be ease of movement within the region. Obviously, as at East African Tourism Platform, you are at the forefront of championing
The
entry, the single tourist visa, even some countries where you can actually go into the country with just your national ID. But other than that, just moving, if someone was to move perhaps from Mombasa to, let's say, Kigali, for instance, and has to charter a plane or have to take a plane ride, where are we in as far as easing movement for tourists across the region?
I'm confident that we are making really good steps in the right direction.
Yeah.
It's not just about traveling by air.
Yeah.
And the airlines already are coming down.
I was looking at the fastest way
Yes,
of moving.
they're coming down when it comes
Yeah.
to pricing. But also we look at infrastructure. You know, the organization, Trademark, for instance, is investing a lot of money with the help of governments in the region to improve on our infrastructure. I heard a good experience of someone, hop on the bus and then ending up in Mombasa, the night bus, and the bus had internet, good music.
Improving the user experience.
Yes, it's the experience. So we really need to go beyond just looking at these obstacles. How can we challenge some of the status quo?
Yeah.
And then go beyond also by asking our policymakers and then investments to look at this as a destination of 145 million consumers. Whether they're consuming beans, rice, or water, electricity, internet, whatever they are, tourism is also a sector. So it's just not about hotels, it's not just about the airlines, it's beyond that.
It's more.
So we want really to see tourism taking really a forefront in overcoming some of the challenges when it comes to sustainable development in our region, creating jobs, and opening markets for East Africans to discover also opportunities in the region.
Obviously, tourism is one of those sectors that are actually very price sensitive, price sensitivity. So where are we in as far as harmonizing, especially when it comes to accommodation? Obviously, the different cadres. You'll obviously have your 5-star, you'll have someone who's starting out. But where are you in as far as you're trying to harmonize the pricing, and even just making that experience that someone gets value for their money?
Already, as you know, we are rating our hotels in East Africa. So each country has embarked on this mission of really getting our rating in our hotels. So if you are going to Uganda and then you are staying in a 3-star hotel, then the experience should probably be the same in Kisumu, or whether you go to anywhere in East Africa. But as I mentioned to you, that the most important thing is not just really going for the price. Yeah. It's about the service and it's about the product. If you make a product a good product, people will be happy to pay for that product. I'm sorry to say that some of the products we see in East Africa really are not up to the standard. And then they are not really value for money. Competition is good because when you open up your market, you benchmark yourself against probably the best, and then we see some international hotels coming in. We see also our local investors are looking at other opportunities in East Africa. So it's not just about only hotels, it's all about every service, whether it's an airline, KQ competing with Rwanda, with any airline flying into East Africa. Also buses. When I hear the experience of Nairobi, Mombasa with internet and a very good entertaining service, it's almost like you're flying with any airline. So it's really changing the mindset and how we see tourism just as what I call probably the high-end tourism. It's for everybody. Tembea Kenya is a very simple example. How 2 weeks ago, I think it was launched, a new campaign, getting people to discover this region as ourselves. I don't probably say that...
Be the first people to market it.
Exactly. You cannot market. You cannot market something you don't know.
Yeah.
You never say something, I've been to the Mara, and then just making an experience. You have not been to the gorilla.
I've only seen it in photos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's just see how we are part of the conversation and this movement.
Obviously, okay, Carmen, you can first run us up after Indonesia, you said. Perhaps if you look at why Indonesia won the award for, especially around innovation and it comes to just pulling that, what are some of the lessons we can learn as tourism players in the East African region, just that we can adopt that will actually accelerate us and actually make us more competitive when it comes to attracting tourists to this market?
The winner of this award for public policy and governance was Indonesia for what they call re-engineering tourism and policy. It's the way the private sector took really ownership of the tourism industry in their country by investing their time, their money, and then resources. By saying, this is our industry, we want to have a say in what's happening. So the presentation we heard last week in Madrid, that the private sector invests pretty much like 60% when it comes to infrastructure, tourism product, tourism services. They are the ones at the forefront of cleaning the beaches. When it comes to conservation, they are the ones really going there and then doing it. So I feel like from the private sector, we really, in East Africa, we need to learn that we are the ones, especially the private sector, investing in this industry. We should not only waiting for the Kenya Tourism Board or Uganda Tourism Board to release funds. So yes, it's important that they release the fund, but also ownership. That we are all sitting around the table and finding solution. What I've learned from Indonesia was like looking at in the whole region, the South Asia, they had competitors who were really going faster than them, and they decided to sit down and say, how can we do it? And then it was not because they waited for someone else from outside to come and do it themselves. They sat together and then decided to do something. So that they won the award of that innovative way of re-engineering tourism, not waiting for the government to find solution, but for the private sector to go ahead and then push for some changes and some policymakers to listen to them as well.
Signs that we're getting there?
Sorry?
Any signs that we're getting there as East Africa?
What do you mean by?
Any signs that we are getting, adopting perhaps where the private sector is actually adopting some of this?
I can say that we are already there. I think we first of all, seeing that the private sector is involved in some of the discussions we are having. And then our ministries of tourism embarking on the same, probably say the same journey as us. I think we are really making some steps in the right direction. But there's still room for improvement, and also there's still room for us to kind of like work together. And I don't have any doubt that once we understand that we're in for this for long term, the better, yes.
Many thanks. Perfect place to end that conversation. That has been Carmen Nibigira, Regional Coordinator of the East African Tourism Platform, just telling us more about how we can pool resources and actually look at the East African region as a single destination, perhaps for tourists, and just be able to grow the tourism from that perspective. Now we take a short commercial break, but don't go too far. When we come back, we're going to be looking at the next frontier, and today's all about banana value addition. Did you know you could actually get flour from bananas? Abby again is going to be having that conversation with Pauline Mwangi from Palmer Foods on just how that value addition chain is creating a different market for what bananas are traditionally used for, so don't go too far.